And every time I visited the club, I didn't know what it was, but I kept leaving away with a nugget. You know, how many of you have that one person or those few folks in your life that every time you visit them, they might be different ages, young or old, but when you visit them and you connect with them, they leave you feeling a little bit better and better than you were the day before or the moment before you met them. Raise your hands if you have people like that in your life. I do. And I've just added one more golden nugget in my pocket that I'm not going to let go. And I wanted to share that person with you this evening. So please help me welcome, and before I have him come up here, a gentleman that probably resonates with all of us. He's an engineer. He is an entrepreneur. Raise your hands if you're an entrepreneur at your heart. If your heart has a dream that you'd like to pursue one day. There you go. There's some of those out there. Some of you get a dream. He's also an individual that believes in other folks. So he's also he's a private investor and part of other venture capital firms. So if you have an idea, if you're part of a startup, connect with our guest tonight. He's an amazing fellow. He believes in a lot of folks, and he believes in me. And because of him, I'm motivated to begin my journey in transitioning into technology as well. He's a technology expert. Please help me welcome ICC Toastmasters founder, which is having their 10 years anniversary this year. So let's give a big hand for that. Mr. Sunil Tomar.
Thank you for those kind words, Mr. Area Governor.
I earned my money.
How many of you have faced challenges in life? How many of you faced a bigger challenge than this? Giving a real story keynote after Tall Tales? My story is real. Believe me. Mr. Area Governor, fellow Toastmasters, guests, and anybody who believes in entrepreneurship. We may not all be entrepreneurs, but we have that in our heart. I want to share with you today some of these challenges that I faced in my life and how I overcame them. Armed with a 4-year physics degree, a postgraduate business degree, and 4 years of consumer marketing experience, I landed in USA in 1987. I thought my career in marketing was going to fly. Well, it didn't even take off. Really, I could not find a job that was worth anything. You can imagine I was disappointed. I was dejected. And after 6 months, I was devastated. So I went to a bookstore. Help me with a book that will help me find myself. The guy says, yeah, here's the book. What color is your parachute? Well, I understand, I'm devastated, but I'm not planning to jump from a plane. No, sir, will help you figure who you are. I said, really? Okay, I read that book, and truly it helped me figure out that I had some analytical skills, I had some people skills, and engineering would be a good career to go after. But I also realized I have a big problem. If I don't have a degree from this country, forget it. I decided to go to school, get a master's in engineering, but I took on a challenge. I did school part-time with full-time work in Silicon Valley. You can imagine how tough that is. 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., college or work. 9 p.m. to midnight, college homework. Mm-hmm. So my wife and I and my family really understood the true meaning of delayed gratification. It was tough, but after I got the degree, I got a great break, and LSI Logic gave me a first job as a chip design engineer. So I worked there 2 years, learned a lot, but in 2 years I was ready to explore entrepreneurship. So I started going to some startup conferences. I started meeting people who were entrepreneurs, and I looked at them, all these people look like me. If they can do it, I can do it too. And hey, because I have Toastmaster, I can bring it. I decided I'm going to try something, but there was a real problem. The problem was I had 2 years of chip design experience, and there's a huge gap in my knowledge in this hot networking field that was really awesome. What should I do? I need to fill this knowledge gap. I had to step out of my comfort zone. And I took on a massive learning adventure. I read pretty much every book on networking. I started networking with networking people. And also, in a way, arm twisted my employer at that time. You'll understand that term. Say, I'm going to leave if you don't transfer me to networking group. And they did. So I got 2 years of great experience in the networking group and learned a lot about all those Ethernet, ATM, Sonnet, whatever technology was popular those days. And after 2 years, I felt like I'm ready to venture out. I saw some of my friends join some startups. But then I also read that only 10 to 15% of the startups are successful. I said, that's a bad thing. If I join a startup, it's not successful, my 4 years will be wasted then. So I said, let me go and try as a consultant, try them out, and maybe they can try me out. And I was lucky that I found an excellent startup in the telecom equipment space. You see, those days, telecom equipment was flourishing like anything. It was riding the coattails of the internet boom of 1990s. You remember that? So the space was really hot. I got into this company, funded by Kleiner Perkins Venture Capital. And in 1 year, suddenly things started getting bad. There was infighting going on with the founders. There were groups formed. One day, I and my 3 other friends from the company were having a lunch at this famous Vietnamese noodle place in Mountain View. And I said to them, look, this is crazy. We're working so hard here. This is an excellent space. And this company is going down the drain. You know, we can do our own startup. And that started the juices flowing. You won't believe this, but our first business plan was on a napkin. Now, this is not the napkin, but you can imagine how excited we were. That day we met. We actually had very good traits. We had complementary skills. I had hardware engineering background. Another guy was software guy. Another guy was finance. And the fourth guy was marketing. We had everything. But we also realized that there's a lot of infighting going on in founders. So we made sure we were on the same page. So we sat down and, taking a page from Stephen Covey's book, wrote down our core values. What is important in our past that has derailed us and others? Let's make sure we have these 5 core values, and we are going to follow them no matter what. Later on, we put those 5 core values even in each of our offices to remind us daily in our daily actions. Anyway, we decided to name our company Cyrus Systems, and we started in a garage. Frankly, we could have used his house, but starting in his garage is a sexy thing in Silicon Valley. We were able to attract a lot of good talent from Silicon Valley. It's a garage startup, and we have the right background. And all of these people were ready to join us day one when we got our venture capital funding. Took us 5 months in 1998. We got $9 million, and off we started. That's where my biggest challenge of my life started. You see, I was a manager that managed about 10 engineers. From there, I was supposed to build a team of 100 engineers and manage them. You can imagine my learning curve was extremely steep. I was scared. At the same time, I thought to myself, this is definitely out of my comfort zone. I can probably do a bad job and just get fired, but no. Let me see what do I know. Really important thing is knowing what you don't know. So I sat down with the partners and we realized that in our experience there are some holes in building a complex telecom system. And how can we fill these holes? So we tried to hire the right talent, and wherever we couldn't hire, we hired high-paid consultants, but it was okay because money was not a problem. Delivering the product was of prime importance. You know, VCs have monthly meetings and they tear you apart if you miss a milestone. But we took an approach with the venture capitalists, updating them even more than monthly meetings, telling them about the small successes and small setbacks. And that way we were able to build a good trust. We came across a big stumble. Our prototype that we were working on failed. I think any other company would get their engineering VP fired. But I think the VCs trusted us because we had kept good relationship with them. They gave us a runway and we were able to deliver a product that was deployed. It's a very complex product. We ended up having 300 people in the company, 200 engineers, and in 2001, we sold our company to Ciena for $1 billion. It was a good outcome. Looking back, I said, this was an amazing experience in my life, and boy, there were so many challenges. Are there some themes that jump out at me that really helped overcome these challenges? And yes, there are three. Number one, to grow in life, you really have to step out of your comfort zone. There is no other way. When I started my engineering career, I had to go to school. I decided to really go part-time. It was a tougher challenge. Also, when I had to really start in entrepreneurship, I had to step out my comfort zone again. Number two, it is truly important, if you want to succeed, that you try to know what you don't know. Where are the holes? Right? The book Color Parachute helped me find out what am I good at. And that helped me launch my engineering career. The equipment we were trying to build, there were holes that we didn't know. And when I knew, I was able to fill them. So it's very important. And finally, I think the most important thing is don't fear the failure, but learn from it. A lot of us don't even want to attempt anything because of a fear of failure. But think about it. If you don't even try, how would you know whether you would have succeeded? But learning from your failure is the most important aspect of your success. My fellow Toastmasters, I'm sure you have faced a lot of challenges and you will face a lot of challenges in your life. But remember, if you focus on three things, number one, stepping out of your comfort zone. Number two, knowing what you don't know. And number three, don't fear the failure, embrace it and learn from it. I'm sure you will all be able to face your challenges and overcome them. Mr. Ariaga.
Thank you very much, Sunil. That was, did I tell you? Was that a good story?
Yeah.
That was. So let's see if anything has changed. Raise your hands if you have a dream. Raise your hands if it's an important dream. Because you might have. Oh, wow, 2 hands. Whether it's your dream, whether it's a business, whether it's some project that you want to get involved, it requires you to step outside your comfort zone. The more you step outside of your comfort zone, the bigger the opportunity awaits you. I pretty much bet that you step really outside of your comfort zone. So next time there's a difficult situation in your life, emotionally, physically, spiritually, psychologically, I have a lot of psychological moments. But don't run away from it. Don't step aside. Run towards it. That's the only way you're going to grow. Go towards the difficult moments. Take the stairs of life. Don't take the escalator. You only grow through the stairs. So speaking about stairs, I like to segue to bicycling. I'd like to welcome a gentleman here that's going to be our Toastmaster. He's our international speech Toastmaster. I've, again, met him only through, really connected with him through being an area governor. This gentleman is amazing. He's inspiring. Just this weekend, he went on a bicycle ride. From Los Altos, just imagine it, picture this, on a bike. I'm not even going to tell how many miles it is. It goes up into triple digits. He goes from Los Altos, I'm not sure which direction he went, but I have a picture in my mind. If you can imagine going all the way from Los Altos to about San Ramon. Raise your hand if you know where San Ramon is. I worked there. I hate to drive there. Good biking there. From San Ramon, just circling off all the way to South Bay and coming back to Los Altos. You know, I'm tired just thinking about that. It's a long ride. What kind of a person do you have to be to commit yourself to something like that? Crazy. Steve Jobs is crazy. I wish I could be that crazy. So I want you to welcome, help me welcome, our incredible Toastmaster for this evening, Mr. Fletcher Johnson from North Valley.
Good morning, fellow Toastmen. Good morning. You know, that's the problem with having too many morning clubs. It's always good morning, good morning. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, honored dignitary, and especially our contestants. How's everyone doing tonight?
Awesome.